All right, Kev.
How we doing, pal?
All good, mate. All good. Feel
Just
surprisingly all right. Bear in mind our bubbles burst, the wheels are falling off.
that's why Corbett. That's why Corbett and Ando aren't here. After the past few weeks that they've been blowing their trumpet about it all, we've imploded, and Corbett and Ando have decided that they can't be seen in public.
Yeah, that sounds about right, to be honest. But no, not at all. Let's talk about the unbeaten Hearts, still top of the league. Was it 7 points clear? We're still all positive around here. It's not the end of the world, as much as Celtic fans on Twitter would like to make it out as to be. Put it that way. That's why you came off it, though, Kev. So that's fine.
That's exactly that. And you being the happy clapper that you are, Tam, or always see the positive side. I think that's the way to look at it.
Yeah, to be fair, we will discuss the game and whatnot. And not as positive as it has been this season, but we will get into that, I'm sure, as well. Anyway, mate. But I would usually do the how you doing in that, but you've already said that. So, how was your weekend? Though, obviously, I couldn't make it, but you were at the service prior to the game on Sunday. How was that?
Aye, it was a decent weekend actually. Went for a few drinks and some grub and food on Saturday before going to see Jim Jeffries. Not that Jim Jeffries, but the Australian comedian. And then Sunday was up early, off to the service. I was trying to work out. I think it is 42 years that I've attended that particular service. I think I've only missed it once since I was 7. And a lot of people were asking if it was, the same days, the heady days of, thousands and thousands of people hanging around the clock that has been pictured over the weekend. No, I was not at that particular event. That was many years before me. But yeah, it's a poignant moment and day in our calendar as a club. But I was trying to rack my brain. I do not remember of all those years of actually going in which the actual manager of the football club has actually stood up and given a reading or a speech or whatever you want to say. So the Sundays was a little bit different for me, and hearing McInnes talk about past players, the effective history of the club, the full understanding of what that means to the club, especially given that, way back in during the Great War or that particular year, 1914, to be so many points ahead of Celtic, to have every single player or 15 of that first team sign up to McRae's battalion, which is something that neither club along the M8 did, A at the time. Just goes to show that we're more than a football club. I know a lot of fans and a lot of teams do say that, but I think we can effectively stand on that particular laurel to put the biggest thing in front of football, which is individual lives, is touching. So well played to Derek McInnes on Sunday for coming along, standing there, and really, what it felt like anyway was speaking from the heart. So yeah, well played to him for that one.
Yeah, the Sky Sports cameras were there as well, I think, and they posted a video of that as well. And as you say, it just shows what a genuine sort of guy, manager, everything he is at the moment. And yeah, exactly, and he gets it, which I know that's a term we sort of fling about quite a lot. It's probably a big football cliche, but he does, he truly does, and he gets what Hearts is.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we should also take time to, I know in our community chat via WhatsApp, link is available in various different formats and places. There's a current ongoing electronic petition to actually get the traffic fully stopped for what is really only 20 to 25 minutes. I would, back everybody to go and take a couple of minutes out of their day to go and sign that particular petition. Well played to those who have backed it already. We're not asking for we're not asking for everyone or the world or whatever. We're just asking for people, the council and others, just to to give a few minutes of their day up to pay full respect to past players and others who have given the ultimate sacrifice at the end of the day.
Absolutely. It says a lot that obviously I watched the video back, and all you can hear during part of it is the tram bell ringing as it goes by, and you're just like, just hold off. It's not the end of the world. But
exactly.
That's Edinburgh Council for you, and hopefully they take note and as many people can sign the petition as possible as well.
Yep, definitely.
Excellent. On different topics, but you're going to give us the news as you always do, Kev.
Yeah, so since we last podied, which was last Tuesday night, a couple of different details have been came out. So firstly, the annual results were published, I believe, the morning after we last podied. I don't think there's anything to say that you're unexpected results, let's put it that way. We know about the benefactors, we know about the Foundation of Hearts and everything else. We always knew that, costs were always going to rise. They were always going to go up. That's just the nature of it all. It's great reading some of the absolute drivel that comes from other fans. I did read that somebody said that we'd spent over £36 million in the last 12 months, which is incredible, given that even the club with, I think it was actually stadium costs, would not actually total £36 million. So that's an incredible take on what was the annual results. McInnes, we've just spoken about him, wins Manager of the Month for the third month in a row. Who knows? I mean, he should go on and, potentially, given the way we are, there's a potential there for him to actually win Manager of the Year. But yeah, for the last 3 months, so 3 of the months for him. Continuing with the actual awards, Braga won Player of the Month for the month of October, which goes off the back of Shankland win it the month before. So from that point of view, back-to-back players winning Player of the Month. And the only other details are around about ticket sales and fixture changes. So tomorrow, tickets for the Motherwell game, November 29th, go on sale to 60 plus loyalty points holders. So they'll be available from tomorrow morning or possibly today, depending on when this particular recording gets pushed out by Ando.
Or yesterday,
exactly. So yeah, either they're about to go on sale, they're on sale, or they went on sale yesterday, one or the other. Pick as you wish, but no, they'll go on sale, which will be Wednesday 12th of November to 60 points or more loyalty points holders. And then, as I say, fixture changes. So a number of fixture changes, which comes off the back of St Mirren getting into the League Cup final against Celtic, which we played on December the 14th. So our game with them, which was supposed to be the 13th of December, of course, was automatically cancelled. And off the back of that, an agreement between ourselves and Falkirk is that we will bring the game that was due to be played at the Falkirk Stadium on the 30th of December. We will bring that forward to Saturday, the 13th of December, with an 8 p.m. kickoff live on Sky.
Nice.
Which works brilliantly for me because I'm on holiday and I'll be able to sit back in a bar, hopefully a wee bit of warmth and watch the game, which is perfect.
Yeah, I think it's a sensible decision from both clubs there, to be honest, especially with the game being over that Christmas period where it's a bit congested,
Yeah, definitely. It just then means that there's effectively a free weekend, December the 30th. But given that you've got a game on the 27th, a game on the 20th, there's loads of games in that period. It's actually not a bad shout from the club to go ahead and do that and give ourselves a little bit of a break at what is a congested time of the season. So yeah, you're right there, Tom.
Absolutely.
The following week, though, the Rangers game, which was supposed to be played on Saturday the 20th, has now been pushed back to Sunday the 21st, with what I think is a strange kickoff time, 1:30, which is a bit bizarre. But hey, you'll take it. Given the fact that the pubs will open on a Sunday at 11 o'clock, you guys a good few beers in before kick-off on that day. Our game against Dundee was supposed to be played on Saturday, the 11th of January. It's also now been moved. It's been moved to the Sunday, the 12th. Again, to be shown live on Sky with a 2 o'clock kickoff. So from that point of view, we've got that game has been moved. And then finally, the home game against St Mirren, which should have been planned for that weekend of the 13th, 14th of December. It's now been rescheduled and to be played on January the 14th at home at Tynecastle with a 7:45 kickoff. So yeah, a number of changes there, but hopefully will suit the rest of the actual scheduling that's going about from that side of things. So again, hindsight's great. You collect 3 points in all these games, and you're thinking, yeah, fantastic move. But if you don't, then you wish, maybe we should have left that one in where it was. But let's look at it from a positive point of view. Let's look for 3 points from every game.
And obviously that'll take us another game in hand against Celtic on the weekend of the 13th. Obviously, you shot me down in my tracks when I decided to think about it earlier. But our record at Falkirk Stadium, is it just called that? Aye.
That's it, mate. Yeah, nothing more special than that.
Isn't particularly great over the last. Well, I know we've not played a lot of games there, but not fond memories, put it that way. So
no, and you've got to remember, Falkirk sit 5th in the league. I think they're a couple of points behind Rangers, point maybe ahead of Motherwell, potentially a couple against Dundee Utd. So they're playing decent football. I suspect that a lot of the points that they've picked up have been at home, so they are decent at home. That surface, of course, is another thing that will come into into the equation with regards to any game. But at the end of the day, with the opportunity to actually put points on the board, I would rather have 3 points on the board, and those points are guaranteed than anything else. So let's as I say, let's look at it positively, get the points, 3 points on the board, and let's move on to potentially bigger games at home. Yeah,
definitely. Cool. I don't know what else I've got to add. Oh yeah, just on the awards and stuff. It's nice to see McInnes has broken the hoodoo off Manager of the Month, and then us going absolutely down the Swanee. So 3 times in a row is pretty good. I'm happy with that, because we've seen that quite a lot in the past.
Aye. Let's not talk about past managers who have won that particular accolade, because there's a couple of absolute arseholes in there. But let's leave it at that.
Yeah, let's leave it indeed. Absolutely, mate. Cool. So obviously on to Sunday, we've discussed the game now. Obviously Dundee United at home, where it finished 1-1. I suppose let's just talk the start of the game, because that was a bold lineup to start with, Kev, with the 3 changes for the week before.
It was, but in all honesty, one of them, it would appear, has been forced upon us. So taking, Benny dropped out of the team due to what is, and it could be a bad injury, or at least an injury which is going to keep him out of the team for a number of weeks. And as we know with Benny, a number of weeks can sometimes equal a couple of months, sometimes longer, unfortunately. So from that side of things, that one was forced. The Steinvender dropping out for Halkett to come back in, probably, in all honesty, expected.
Yeah.
So from that side of things, I didn't really see a great deal of real change in regards to formation or how we were going to play. And Spittle dropping out for Braga. Again, you're probably going, yeah, expected. Yeah. The one that does get me more than anything else, or I feel that we didn't quite get, is the midfield. I think Magnusson is good on the ball. He's strong, but he still needs to adapt to the game. Benny is sometimes overlooked as to what he can actually bring to the team. the way he shields the ball, the way he mops things up. Yes, he's very similar to Devlin in the way in which he wins the ball, but he does it with a little bit more, I'm going to say panache. He's got that wee bit extra about him. And you can sometimes find a slightly better pass. And I think it's in games like that on Sunday where you go, actually, losing Benny is actually quite a big, a big thing. So it is what it is. But Magnusson just, again, he needs game time. He needs time in the team. And that's only going to come with situations like we found ourselves in on Sunday.
Spot on. I think it did highlight to me how important Benny is to the way we've sort of played the last while. As you say, Devlin's Devlin. He's been brilliant this season and probably gets a lot more of the plaudits this season just for his performance and increase in performance. But the sort of calming factor that Benny brings and the sort of, I don't know, just always looking for that sort of forward pass. It's never going to give you a sort of Paul Scholes type pass or something like that, but he's always looking forward and he's always going that way. And I think we did kind of miss that. And then, as you say, Magnusson, it's hard for him. There is certainly a player there, and we've seen it in bits and starts, but he's had, 5-10 minutes at each game, roughly, to put him in for the start. I didn't think he was bad. Don't get me wrong, but he's just not Benny. So, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't impose himself on the game and like Benny can. The unfortunate situation is that if it is a hamstring pull that Benny's got, then from that point of view, yeah, we're going to be probably not seeing him until potentially January, maybe even February.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question. If we do not see him till January, February, do we see him in a Hearts shirt again?
Let's hope so, put it that way. But I'm not sure. With the contract talks that are going on, or any talks, we don't know if there's talks. Let's see.
Well, that's the thing, right? That's where I'm going with it, is that if we know that he's going to be out of action until potentially February, do we go looking for another player who can do all that kind of stuff? He's got the strength, he's got the ability. Yeah, we've got Magnusson there. Yes, we've got Aju there. There's all these guys in and around. As we've just said, Magnusson didn't really impose himself on the game. He done other things better. He done other things that Benny wouldn't do. But from that point of view,
or like taking a shot for 30 yards or whatever.
Well,
no,
there is all that. There is that side of Magnusson's game against Benny's game. But then, as we've just said, there's things that Benny does better than what Magnusson has shown to be able to do so far. So there's a number of pros and cons about both players. I just wonder that if it is a long term, especially if it's a hamstring pull, that's a good three months at least. Yeah. You could be looking at February. You could be looking, actually, do we offer him a new contract? It's a real big debate as to whether or not you do offer him a contract, based on the fact that his injury past, his history with injuries has not actually been great. He's not a very like a quick recovering football player. But that's another challenge that could quite easily, I think, see him not pull on a Hearts shirt again if he doesn't get offered a contract.
Fair. No, I don't. I can't disagree with you, to be honest. But it's one of those things as well. It's like Devlin and Benny have played for each other for what? Last 5 years, 4 years, 5, probably that.
4 or 5 seasons, yeah.
Yeah, so the relationship they have, they know when to go, when to sit back. Magnusson's obviously got that to work on as well. And as you say, it all just comes down to game time. And it was the same way as you when he came on. He was a bit... I'm not going to write the boy off because that's just stupid at this point in time. But again, it's just about not having enough minutes in the legs and building those relationships with players around them. It's a lot different in training when you're playing each day to get these sort of things. When it comes to an actual game time and you're playing at that high intensity, as I say, it'll come down to knowing each other as well, especially when we're playing a 2 against quite a physical side like Dundee United as well.
Yeah, and it was I'm not here I'm not going to give a negative or anything, but what has been shown, if you think about the 2 games that we've dropped points in the last few weeks, is Dundee United and St Mirren. Both are big physical teams.
Yeah,
both have got that element about them, and Dundee United on Sunday were very well drilled in regards to getting everybody behind the ball when they needed to get people behind the ball. When they had the opportunity to break, they broke with fair pace. They knew how, where they wanted to be and how how to get that ball forward. That is then a different challenge that we faced against, like we did maybe the week before against Dundee, or other weeks where we've played Falkirk, where we played even Celtic. Celtic in that game were not as physical as they can be or have been in the past. And these are kind of things we're going to have to work on as an actual team to get better at. And how do you break down those particular teams? And yes, as you rightly say, you're not going to write off Azure at this moment in time. You could see certain touches and everything else in that first game he had against Livingston. So it's there. It's working on it. It's improving it. It's getting them into speed of Scottish football, because you don't get the time on the ball. We've spoken about that many times before. So, yeah, it was go back to the original bit around the actual team formation and the chosen 11. And McInnes has come out and said it afterwards. Maybe he got it wrong.
Yep, fair enough.
However, the question is, what could he have done differently?
Yeah. Well, one thing for me, and to be honest, I was very much saying prior to the last couple of weeks that Milne needs to go back to left back, but you look at where they were targeting in that sort of from the start was they were going for McEntee's side, and the boy on the left for them was his name Fata or something, was it? Yeah. He was pretty good, to be fair. He looked a decent player, and he was taking him on each time and getting good results. He also had one of the worst misses I've ever seen at Tynecastle in my life. Where he's free in this 18-yard box and nearly hitting the corner flag, but that's a different point. Anyway, but yeah, I think I don't know. It's all hindsight, isn't it? You can't really. When I seen the team before the game, I was like, "Oh, that's good. We're properly going for it." There's basically 4 strikers on at this point, and everything's been said this year about how good our front three has been. So, yeah, and yeah.
I think before that game kicked off on Sunday, I think everybody would be more than happy with that starting 11. I appreciate, as I say, what McInnes has come out and said after the game. Did he get it right? Well, if you think about it, the only players that you could have probably changed would have been to drop Kabore, to have Braga slightly further up. Well, what does that do to Kabore, who'd scored 2 goals the week before?
Yeah. 100%.
Does it, does that kill his confidence? Does it? So all these things have got to come into that equation as well. So I think, but from my point of view, I think the changes were what you expected to see. I think, again, looking at it, Kazaridas is, he wasn't maybe as lively as he has been in previous, in other games. But you're not to expect that when you look at the starting lineup. So
yeah, Borchgrevink just must be fancied, eh? Do you reckon?
That's a strange one to me. That's a real strange one. The fact is that he's there. He's on. He's in the starting 17 or whatever they are now. You would genuinely think that he would start to see some game time. Do you? Again, it's maybe a case of actually, do you start him at right back and push McEntee into midfield to take the place of what Benny would do?
That's my thoughts.
Again, that's. But these are only things. Again, it's hindsight, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah.
Hindsight's an amazing thing. In hindsight, you would say, yeah, do that. Put Borchgrevink in at right back. Put McEntee into Benny's position, and then we're back to probably where we would normally be. But that's fine saying it 3 days after the event.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. So I onto the game anyway. I thought it's quite a slow start, and that's not what we've really seen or come to expect over the last sort of while. I think the first sort of chance was that Magnuson chance, but again, it's a shot for 25, 20 yards, 30 yards, something along those lines. That's and then all the real chances that we kind of had in the first half were sort of longer shots. Really, I can't really remember the keeper having to make a sort of proper save as such.
No, but if you look at it, the way which Dundee United set up, they effectively played. It was a back three that went into a back five when they didn't have the ball. It was a sort of really then a 4-man midfield, leaving the one by I can't remember what his name is up front on his own.
Sapsford.
But even he was was running the lines like he needs to do. So he goes from the left back to the right back. He switches over and tries to shut down that space. But what they done very, very well is they closed the amount of space that was available. If you go back and watch the Dundee game, Shankland was filling into the little pocket.
Yeah.
That little pocket between their midfield and their defence. Dundee United didn't have that on Sunday, which meant that the space wasn't there, which then required somebody who was able to put their foot in the ball and control the game and find the right pass. And unfortunately, on Sunday, we just didn't have that. We didn't have the pace. We didn't have the sort of, I'm not going to say the appetite for it, because that's, a lot of people will say that, especially with those that are saying, bubbles burst and all that shit. But to me, what it felt like was that the intensity level that we've shown in other games just wasn't quite where it has been in those games.
Yeah, and I'll agree with you. I think it was ultimately a lot to do with the way Dundee United played as well, and they were impressive at what they done in their game plan. Because you look at Kizaridis, how effective he's been. He was doubled up, tripled up each time he got the ball. He's still got a room to move, basically, and they followed their game plan perfectly in the way it worked. Obviously, leads on to Kizaridis. I saying that, and then he obviously is robbed of a goal for hitting off the post and into the keeper. But he does well again. It just shows how effective he is at that sort of from 18 yards to 25 yards out and coming into his right foot.
Definitely. He's and this will come out really badly, and no doubt I'll get slated for it by others. I don't want him to turn out to be a one-trick pony, i.e. you play him on that left-hand side, he comes in on his right foot, he sort of feigns the shot, cuts it colour across again, and then takes the shot and curls it in, or as it was on Sunday, off the post, off the keeper's back in it. So I don't want it to come across that is his only trick. I would have a couple of times liked to actually see him do what he done against Celtic. Go get to the line, even though it's on your bad foot, because Shankland is knowledgeable and understands it. Kabore has played enough times now that even in bounce games and such like, he knows that Kizaridis is so heavily dominant on his right foot that he can make that front post run. But what we should also be seeing, whether it's Milne that is going to stick in at left back, or if it's Kingsley, they also need to do that overlapping element. There was very, very little of that from Milne on Sunday. So there was a couple of things that just didn't quite click for me on Sunday. That can come down to a number of different factors. But I think the biggest factor is, you've just said, and I mentioned it earlier, Dundee United organised themselves very, very well on Sunday. We'll always look upon it, or we'll always go and attack ourselves and how badly we did this or how we didn't do that, whatever it may be. Sometimes we don't give the credit to the other team in the way in which they structure themselves and the way in which they actually put their team out and how to press us to do the things that we would do in certain situations away from home. So give them the credit as well. Yeah,
and you're right. We were good, and they are a good team. They'll pick up points over the course of the season. I would be very surprised if they aren't in or around top 6 anyway by the end of the season. But as well as I'm probably giving them too much credit now at this point, so I'll move on to the rest of the game. But obviously, they scored just before halftime. Zona marking, Kev. Talk to me.
It's something that's been around now for 20 plus years. I personally don't like it. I know Corbett doesn't like it. He's been very vocal around it. I can understand why clubs do it and why teams do it. However, I feel that at times, especially when you're up against a fairly dominant team physically, I think it doesn't sometimes work. I'd rather go man for man in those situations. Have your own sort of fight, have your own battle, and win your own battle, rather than the whole "this is my area." because if you've got 2 or 3 people in that same area, who's taking the responsibility?
Yep.
And that was the
as
one
you
thing
say,
that lost it.
That's ultimately what that goal comes down to. It's responsibility. You've got 11 men in the box. The boy, what was his name? Stevenson, was it?
Stevenson.
He's just strolling in for the edge of the box. Nobody's obviously on the edge. Nobody's then going, let's take him, take that man as he comes in. And,
exactly.
And to be fair, the finish and the pass, like it's well worked corner. Like they know exactly what they're doing, and the pass for it is spot on. Like you're not going to get, that's not going to come off like 9 times out of 10 in a sense, but he does work really well, the boy, to get in and then to finish it. And as what it is, I think McKenna said it himself. I'm just going to copy him here, but I think at that point, if we had held on to 1-0 at halftime, I think it would have been a lot different second half, but we then sort of had to change it, come out a wee bit different in the second half.
Yeah, we did. I think collectively, if you look at both halves, I don't think we've done enough in either of them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know we'll come on to talk about a certain individual who wants every game of football that he's involved in to be about him. I know we'll come on to speak about that in a few minutes, but I don't think deep down, we done enough to win the game on Sunday.
Yeah.
I had a look at the stats earlier on. The stats were that yes, we had more ball possession. Yes, we had more shots on goal. We had more shots, but shots on goal we didn't. So I think it was something 11 shots altogether. Of that, only 2 of them were on target.
Yeah.
Now that can come down to a number of different reasons. That can come down to a number of elements. The fact that Dundee United were playing where they didn't have the ball with a back 5, they weren't given the space to us like other clubs and other teams have done, especially at Tynecastle. So from that point of view, we didn't get that opportunity. But also, we didn't use, I didn't think, the width of the team. I don't think we pulled them apart. I don't think we had, as I said earlier, the intensity to move the ball quickly to be able to actually create the space that is required for a Kabori, for a Casaridis, for a Braga, whoever it may be. So I think there's a number of factors that come into the way in which we played, because I think that's probably the lowest shot count we've had all season.
I'd be surprised if there's many under double figures, put it that way.
Yeah. So to have only like 11 shots, 2 of which on target, that to me is where that's where you've got to look at your look at your stats and look at your abilities. There's where we sort of lost out. You don't shoot, you don't score. Don't score, you don't win football games. It's as simple as that.
We looked a bit spooked sort of defensively as well, which is surprising from what we've been used to. But there was a few times where, I don't know, men were free. You see it with the 2 offside goals. Obviously, one of them's mega offside, like no even a doubt. I could see it for the opposite corner. You were probably right in line with it and didn't even bother. But the first one, I was a bit scared with that one. But
yeah. I mean, a lot of these decisions are going to be tight, right? That's where they were playing. They were playing right on the last man, and I think they've done their homework. They knew perfectly well. In all honesty, Finlay and Halkett have got clever footballing brains. They both know where they need to be and how to position themselves. What they lack in is pace. So anything where the ball goes over the top of them, as was the case for 2 of the goals that were correctly, they were correctly judged offside by the linesman. And that's something we don't call out enough, I don't think. When a linesman makes the decision to say he is offside and gets it right, a lot of times we just gloss over it to an extent. But the linesman done his job. And from that point of view, I think what you found was that's where we just lack a little bit, is just having pace in the centre-backs. Steinbender's got a bit of pace about him, but again, because he doesn't have the positional sense of Halkett.
Yeah,
and that's something that might come. I think he's still quite young. I say young, Steinbender. I think he's only 26.
Yeah, everyone's young at you, Kev. It's fine.
Fuck, can't believe you went there. You dirty bastard.
No, but I do agree. It was a bit of strange. It was just a strange game. I walked away from the game obviously I felt like we got beat on Sunday. I was a bit. My dad said to me after we drove home, he was just like, we barely spoke to each other in this car journey. It just felt a bit I don't know. It was one of those you feel like you should sort of be winning it. At the end of the day, it's still a point. It's not the end of the world, but I just felt there was more to come. And I've got no doubt McInnes is feeling that too. The players are feeling that too. And they're in that changing room probably having a go at each other, and probably you would hope there's a response. And I'm kind of annoyed that it's not kind of annoyed. I'm annoyed anyway, regardless. But I'm annoyed that it's International Week, because I think it'd be good to sort of have a game straight away. For us to sort of bounce back.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. A lot of people will be saying the same thing. But having the ability to work on things as well can also have a positive impact in regards to a game against our next game against Aberdeen. The Aberdeen game itself will be just as tough. A place that we've visited on a number of occasions over the last few seasons and been there or thereabouts, but never really, again, dominating the game or, winning it, more importantly. I think it's something ridiculous, isn't it? It's like we're now something like 10 or 11 seasons since we won up there.
I think it's 2016. Oh, 14, 16, is it? I can't remember. Was it the game? I can't even remember.
It makes no difference. It's a long time. It should not be the case.
Yeah, exactly.
It should not be the case. We should be able to travel. We should be able to play better when we are, in Aberdeen or wherever it may be. And we were the same for years against St Johnstone.
Yeah,
it's something ridiculous that we'd went 14 years or 15 years without winning it at McDermott Park. Then you win one, and then we kind of get beat there. I think we've won since we turned that around. We've not been beat at McDermott Park. So, these things happen. But go back to your point about not talking in the car. We've walked out of that game on Sunday with a point. If you go back to the previous the reverse fixture, which was the second or third weekend in the season, and we've pulled out a 3-2 win in the same, in the dying embers of the game. I'll tell you, I'd rather walk out of Tynecastle with a point in my back pocket than what their fans would have done after that game of walking out with absolutely hee-haw. So from that point of view, it's as you rightly say, it's a point. Still unbeaten. 1 point is not good enough, and I think McInnes will be
Christ.
McInnes will be telling them that.
Yeah, I thought I was watching your death firsthand there. No, don't worry, Kev. I would have posted it online anyway, just for the content.
Watch figures, sky high.
Probably our most viewed video. That would be good. But you kind of touched on the fact earlier, but the man that wants to be the centre of attention, every game's about him. Takes a lot. A real skill, to be honest, Kev, that both sets of fans are walking out of a game and thinking the ref has done a poor job. And he's not actually made any massive decisions wrong. Nothing like that. There's no contentious goals. There's no contentious red cards. But every small decision possible is near enough wrong. And
it's crazy. I'm trying to find who it was. Thanks to Bill, actually. Bill posted it. So Bill Corbett posted this Sunday night.
Oh, is this in relation to the record beaten has when he's officiating certain teams? Is that right?
Yeah, Bill stuck it out. So 33.
Sorry, audio listeners, Kev is really having a struggle here. If you're wondering what the cats are.
Kev's dying after he's...
But he's managing to mute as he does it, so it's fine.
It's brilliant. You'd think he'd be doing this for years. No, Bill's posted it. 33 fouls, 6 yellow cards, 5 subs, 7 corners, 2 goals, 2 VAR checks, 2 other offside, 2 treatment stops, 59 stoppages, not including throw-ins and kick-ins. Kick-ins.
Goal kicks.
Bill gets that from. Anyway, Moon's ball was never in play for more than 90 seconds all game. That's how Beaton tries to derail things. And it is, because what you're doing there is you're automatically stopping any form of flow.
Yeah.
You're always pulling something back. There was occasions on Sunday where he give us a foul and you're going, what's he giving that for?
Yep.
Then he would give Dundee United what would be a clear Stonewall free kick. And you go, all right, he's got it back online. But then he would flip it around the following time. You're like, what game are you watching? You're watching a totally different game in your head because you're not seeing what I'm seeing.
It was even the one where there was a Dundee United player goes down, he's down for a couple of minutes, and he stays on the park. And you're like, Hearts were building a bit of momentum at that point. And fair play to Dundee United they're trying to break down the game, they're trying to break down any momentum, but we were building a wee bit at that point. And then the player stays on the field, and you're like, how? And then, as you say, 3 minutes added on time. I know it's probably not John Beaton that decides it. Is it the fourth official? But
no, it is.
Oh, it is? Okay. Right.
So he tells the fourth official.
Yep.
And then the fourth official is effectively going, yeah, I agree with that, and puts up.
Fair. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. And that's 2 VAR checks. One took near enough 3 minutes, the first one. And then, as you say, is it not maybe 30 seconds a sub or something, at least?
Yeah, it's 30. I think it's 30 seconds, not per sub. I think it's now 30 seconds.
Per stoppage. Aye.
Let's class it as substitution stop.
Yeah.
If you're bringing 1 on, you're bringing 3 on, whatever it may be, that should be 30 seconds. So that happened on at least 4 occasions.
Yep.
It's crazy, and hats off to McInnes. No doubt someday there'll be fans of other clubs out there, and I don't care to fly, to flying fox about it all. To be truthfully honest with you, what their thoughts are. But what he called out in these press conferences, absolutely bang on aggregate. If you go back to Celtic versus Kilmarnock earlier in the season, it was the 97th minute or 96th minute that Celtic got their penalty.
Yeah.
There was less stoppages in that game. Less. If you go and look at it, look at the information, the details on it. There is less stoppages in that game for substitutions, for VAR checks, etc., etc., etc. But there was allegedly 7 minutes, and they get their penalty after 6.
Yep. And as you say, how many games are you watching when it's an Old Firm game, the Celtic game, Rangers game, and there's 8 minutes added on? And I was even speaking to one of my mates who's a Hibs fan, and he was saying to me the Rangers game the other week there, last 5 minutes of the game, one of the Rangers players was down for at least 3 minutes or something. And then obviously they had the VAR check, whatever, and it was the same for them. 3 minutes added on for the penalty and whatnot. And you're like, how? It's just different rules. And as you say, folk will say it's sour grapes, whatever, but it's the truth. McInnes has spoke the truth there. You wouldn't see it. You wouldn't.
Yeah. But it's not just McInnes that's called this out. It was called out by David Gray the week before at Livingston. But because, and I don't mean this will come out badly, but because it's just a Hibs versus Livy game, it's not got the same focal point on it.
That didn't come out badly. That's perfectly fine.
Sorry for you, Tam, being that Livy fan. But these are the kind of things that need to be called out. It needs to be shown up a lot more regularly, because what is the fourth official actually doing? In all honesty, what is he doing? What is he there for? His purpose,
glorified bouncer, isn't he, for the dugouts?
So why not give him the control?
Stopwatch. There you go.
Correct. So that from that point of view, you've got somebody who is accountable. We go back to what we spoke about earlier on with regards to some players weren't taking, the accountability of the marking, doing this, doing that, doing the next thing on the pitch. Give him the accountability so that when there is a substitution, stop the clock.
Yeah.
Or
and don't get me wrong.
That was at 62 minutes to 64 minutes. That's 2 minutes.
2 minutes, aye. Exactly. And then it would cut out any sort of... You're seeing the keeper, he got warned for wasting time after like 20 minutes.
15 minutes. 15 minutes. I said to one of the boys next to me, so it's 15 minutes being played. He's been called out for time wasting already. Let's see if he gets booked. No, nothing.
No, exactly. Not even another word. Exactly. And that's what it's so funny. It was 15 minutes. I don't even think he was time wasting at that point, because what was he time wasting for? He was just. But I think he. I don't think he was time wasting, but I think he was trying to be very clever. Now the situation is that if he had the ball in his hands and it was over 8 seconds, he should give a corner. Yeah.
That's the new rule. And I've still not seen it. Still not seen it.
Never seen it once.
So, interesting when that starts to take effect. Because why, if we're saying it's only for when the ball is in the keeper's hands, what's this? Why then are you not doing it? Why are you not doing it when the ball's just being kicked about at the back of the net, for example, or whatever the case may be? And I can't remember what the Geordie English referee is. He no longer refs, I must admit. I think
Klamberg, is it?
Yeah, he called it out on a podcast I listened to maybe a season and a half ago now about how players manipulate that whole system.
Yeah,
what they do is, as long as they're not on a card already, they'll use their time, and even if it's a throw-in, they'll push it and go 10, 15, 20 yards up from where the ball came out. Then they'll get sent back to where it actually got taken. But what he's done there is already eaten away at 20, 30 seconds of the game, especially when it's an injury time. He's doing the clever things. Now, that'll happen at every single level. That'll happen at every single club and every single game that we watch. And what's happening is referees are allowing it to happen. Referees are letting that actually, they're effectively letting the piss get taken out of them. So why not actually take it away from the referee? Why not put it on that fourth official who's effectively just standing there, tickling his arse and making sure that managers didn't go fight with each other? Let's be truthfully honest, that doesn't happen very often.
So no, you're spot on. And to be honest, I don't want to labour the point after we've talked a good 10 minutes on it, but because I think if we'd had another 3-4 minutes, to be honest, I couldn't see us scoring, because you're looking at the last bit, but you never know what's going to happen, and it's just about what's fair at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean you're right there. The fact is, if there'd been another 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, there's as much chance of us actually scoring as them scoring.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So it goes both ways. So I fully understand. No, I get all that. It's just the fact of how it was done.
Yep.
The fact that it was so blatantly obvious that there was more than 3 minutes on the clock, or should have been on the clock. It's that part that sort of just doesn't sit right with people, I think.
Totally, man. Any more to discuss Sunday?
No, I think there's a number of players that, and they'll know themselves that they didn't show up on Sunday. I think Ayew came on after 67 minutes or something like that.
Roughly, yeah.
Didn't really, set anything alight like he did at Livingston. Appreciate there's differences in the game and everything else. I think
I hope it's just ultimately, as we spoke about earlier, but coming back from injury, getting up to speed, different type of game. But I agree, there was a lot of pointing and not enough action for me for a wee bit. But it'll come. I'm very confident that it will.
Yeah, I think so. I think one, let's look at positives. I think the 10, 15 minutes that Carjota got, there was a couple of times you could see Carjota again. I called out about Casaridis after the Kelly match. He's always wanting to go forward.
Yeah.
Carjota looks exactly the same. I think what he just needs is a little bit more time. I personally would have liked to see Cabangu get a bit more time on the park, mainly from the point of view of the fact of his pace.
Yeah.
Balls at the channel, he would happily chase them, happily go and run after them. Just giving him again that time on the pitch, I think is a massive, massive thing. I know he's not the full article. I know that when he gets these opportunities in front of goal, he's not as clinical as others in the team are. But at that point of the game, giving them that last 15 minutes and putting the balls out wide and getting them to run onto them, one hit like headers, and then somebody else picking up that second ball, which was something we didn't do very well on Sunday. But that's the kind of thing I thought would be really good for Cabangu to come on after 70, 75 minutes. I was surprised to, if I'm honest, I'm probably more surprised to see Aju come in for Magnuson. I thought it would actually been a better idea to bring Cabangu in that situation and leave Magnuson where he was for somebody like Casaridis, who just looked like he was tiring.
Yeah. And I suppose I said we want a bounce back, but there did seem to be a wee bit of, I don't know, a break might do them good as well, put it that way, this weekend. There's a few sort of tired legs.
Look, there's a high chance I know what this particular episode is going to be called, but in hindsight, you could be damn on right. You could be bang right. We could be looking at, give them a break. Casaridis has just become a dad.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, he's up at 2 a.m. doing the night feed or whatever, but that's a massive change to any individual, from sleeping patterns to expectations on him. All these kind of things can come into it. Similarly with a number of other players that have been, playing every single minute of every single game. Finley's played. I don't think Finley's been subbed at any point. He has been the one consistent player. Yeah. And I think Milne coming off on Sunday after 75, 80 minutes. I think that's the first time he's been substituted as well.
Yeah.
So, maybe. It might just be a case of actually these guys just need a few days off, let them, recover, let them get their, battery powers back up, etc., etc. Maybe not actually have them, go out in actual full training, but time in the gym, time in, on the weights, doing bits and pieces just to keep themselves going. And then we get into Tuesday next week, and then we've got a good 3-4 days to properly work with the ball at team, shape, etc., etc. We know perfectly well that there's a couple of them away with an international duty. I think Kabori's away, Shanklin's definitely away, Gordon's away.
Devlin as well.
The Devlin away, but where are they playing?
No idea.
You're the international football guru.
My Australian football knowledge is
as good as your other knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. But
okay.
We will see. I say he's in the squad, and now I'm questioning it as well. But could be in. But they're playing Colombia and somewhere else in South America that I've just lost. But anyway, it might be away. Might not be away.
That's a big. If you're saying South America, that's a big trip.
He is in the team. Sorry, apologies. Yeah, he is in the team.
Okay.
And they are playing Venezuela and Colombia, as I mentioned.
Down there or somewhere else?
Well, it says they're the home team, but it could be somewhere else. So let's just say it's in South America.
Okay. It just, from that point of view, even if you look at halfway somewhere in the States, for example, it's still a bit of travelling. The thing that annoys me about these games, especially the last two, and I'm not Devlin's biggest fan, but to take a guy, because his last two games were America and Canada, and he didn't play. What's the point?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? At least give the guy 20 minutes in one of the games. What are you actually getting out of taking that player halfway around the world to not play him? If you're thinking of, we've got a squad here, I think Australia have already qualified for next year's World Cup.
I believe so, yeah.
So you want to see players.
These are in America, actually.
Right. So you want to see those boys. What the guys like actually playing with my own eyes, rather than just on a recording or watching a game live or whatever the case is. Actually, seeing him play in the team is a hell of a lot better than he looks great sitting on a bench. That's about as much good as far in a spacesuit. So. I find it must be really frustrating for players that travel, or be picked from a national team. Great. Did you actually hit the pitch? No.
I don't know if, obviously, Kabori will probably play after his hat-trick the last time, but to be honest, it's probably likely that the only one other than that will be Craig Gordon that actually plays, which is ridiculous in itself. But just it's Steve Clark and Shankland. Who knows if you'll even get on at some point as well.
I mean, that's absolutely mental, in my opinion, that he's actually been picked. Never mind him actually playing. I appreciate that there's a number of factors in play with regards to the goalkeeping situation, but yeah, crazy.
Absolutely. Anyway, less international football, and shall we predict next Sunday, week on Sunday?
As I said earlier on, it's a real tough game.
No Craig Halkett as well, is that right?
Halkett will be suspended for that game. So you're looking at roughly, what's that going to be, 10 days now? So 10 days. Do you start Steinvender? So you've got Steinvender alongside Finlay, alongside potentially McEntee and Millen as a back four?
I think I go, if he's fit, Kent comes in for me.
Again, it's if Kent's fit, fine, not a problem. But Kent's been out for 6 weeks.
Yeah, roughly.
Are you then want to bring him into a game against Aberdeen? Whereas at least Steinvender's, he had 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes on Sunday. He played the full game against Dundee. I think I'd be more inclined to play Steinvender. However, I understand that not everybody fully trusts him. I know that sounds really bad to say, but you know what I mean. He's maybe got a little bit of a mistake in him, or just got that little bit of concern, that worry over certain aspects of his game. But I think personally, if you're definitely losing Halkett, for me it would be Steinvender, because he's got at least match day experience over the last 4 weeks, which is something that Kent's not got. And the worst thing you could do there is bring him in, he gets injured again, and then he's out for a longer period of time. Because again, I think he's another one that's contracts up at the end of this season.
I think you're right. We'll see. I hope it's just we do break this hoodoo that we've just discussed in regards to going up to Pittodrie. Let's right that wrong that's been happening for the last 10, 11 years, as we just discussed, Kev. But
yeah, I think you've got to be positive, right? And I think McInnes, with his background in regards to how he was perceived and treated, will probably have a little bit of an added extra there from that point of view. But it's not about McInnes, it's about what the 11 players or 15, 16, 17 players that are picked for the matchday squad. It's what they do with their opportunities. It's about the decision making they make on the pitch. It's all these kind of little things that actually come into it. So it'll be interesting to see where that one goes. I'm going to predict for Corbett. I'm going to go Desmond.
Nice.
on his behalf. But from my point of view, I'm actually quite worried about the game next week. Not for any particular reason, as in, let's be honest, Aberdeen have been pretty shit this season. Yeah. Right? Teams have really, taken them to town. They've not gelled. That's for sure this summer. But that's the kind of typical Hearts situation. Team's not gelled. Team's not playing well. We go and play them, and that's where and that's my concern, right? Because that's where we've been over the last 4, 5, 6 years, and unfortunately, it's got it's slightly embedded in my brain. But I do hope that we can go there. We can show the kind of levels that we have shown against Rangers at Ibrox, Aberdeen and Celtic at home, even Dundee United away. I thought we started that game really, really well. Okay, they got back into it, and then we showed in the second half how good a team we can actually be. So from that point of view, I do hope that we can definitely beat that hoodoo that we've got and turn it around and just extend a little bit more on the rest of the chasing pack. So yeah, keep our fingers crossed for that one, mate.
Yeah, I agree. It's not going to be easy, as it never is, but yeah, if you're gonna win up there, you would expect it to be this season.
Cool. Yep. Anything else to talk about?
Oh, is that you mimicking a hat there? Nice. Do you want to tell us, Kev? Go for it.
Yeah, no, we're just with regards to we're coming into the middle of November. For anybody who's interested in any of the new This Is My Story podcast merchandise, there's a new shop, some new merch. Hoodies look fantastic. I've already placed an order for a couple of them. The Inter Milan and the Candy Stripe t-shirts, I've also got an order in for one of them. My brother wants one of them for his Christmas, so that's been ordered. But the hats and everything that we've got in that range just now comes across really, really well. We'll be pushing a lot of it on social media, so you'll see it on both on Twitter and on Instagram over the next couple of weeks. Anybody who is interested, the final date at the moment for guaranteed Christmas orders is December the 1st. So you've still got a few weeks yet to get everything in your bag and in your cart for Santa. But yeah, go and have a look at it. As I say, it's a really good gear, good quality, and from that point of view, you're just supporting us to be able for us to do the things that we can do with regards others around about the club. So yeah, just promoting that and go see what you want from Santa this year.
Absolutely. No, it's decent stuff, and it's really quick turnaround as well. Seen a few folks saying they've got their stuff now, which is good. I know we had a bit delays previously, but this stuff will be quick. And
yeah, I spoke to Ross just the other day there around some of the bits and pieces. You know, everything is done as a bulk. What he does is he doesn't put an order through on a Monday, then another order on a Tuesday, and another order on Wednesday for one item or two items here or there. What he does is he collects all the orders in over a period of usually 10 days to 2 weeks. Then he places the order for all the gear over that period, gets it delivered, and then gets it out as quickly as he possibly can. So yeah, just be aware that you know, it's not like he's running a sweatshop in his own back garden or anything like that. It is actually proper gear and proper detail and everything else. And from that point of view, he is trying to get all the orders through as quickly as he possibly can. It just does take that little bit of time to actually get everything done and get that turnaround, as you rightly say. But at the end of the day, you would rather have better, good quality gear and good quality merchandise rather than the sort of cheaper stuff that we maybe have seen in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice one, Kev. Well, cheers, mate, and we'll enjoy your international break as well, which is pish, but yeah. Nah, but nice one. Thanks very much for everyone for tuning in. And as Kev says, there'll be links to merch, community chat, everything in the show notes. So give us a shout if you need anything as well. Spot on. Catch you a bit, mate.
Cheers, Tom. All the best.
See you later. Go Girls.